Where does your financial data sit or stay?
Hii ni Tech na Msangi ya jishinde.com.
It's definitely on the ledger tables. Every application area, for example, the purchase and payables application area has got the vendor ledger entry as their ledger table. The sales and receivables application area has got the customer ledger entry as the main ledger table. And so they contain key information, the transaction. In a system, most of the time, we're just moving data from one table to another and making sure that it is consistent. And by the time it goes to the ledger tables, these are tables that are not to be edited. Like, they contain our audit trail or transaction information. This is where we drill down to go and check, okay, this is the vendor, but let me go to the balance and drill down. What will I see here? We'll see the ledger table, vendor ledger entry, with a primary key, primarily entry number, and then of course containing a relation with the master table and details like posting date, document type, document number, description, the amount. So this is where we can go and ask the question, did this vendor pay? Why? What constitutes this particular balance? So it's a very critical pay table, only except for a few, maybe customer and vendor ledger entry, where you can change maybe the on hold, payment, discount tolerance, just a few fields. You're only able to alter a few fields from the maybe customer ledger entry and vendor ledger entry, but ideally you are not able to edit. And the page, as you can see, it's usually have, with this vendor ledger entry table, we'll have vendor ledger entries. We will have the vendor ledger entries page because it's part of this table, the vendor ledger entry, and we've just viewed the table, but ideally that's the ledger tables. And we do have some application areas, some maybe GL entry. Okay, I was speaking of the naming convention. Let me not confuse the two. The naming convention is, if it's a customer, it will be the customer ledger entry, or vendor ledger entry, item ledger entry. And there are some ledger tables that constitute more than one application area. And the ones that constitute more than one application area, these ledger tables are they are named with the application area name and then the entry. Of course, it is signifying that there is an entry somewhere. And most of the time, when you go to, if you open your customer, this is a convention that is found in the card pages of the master tables. If you do Control F7, ideally this shortcut is a convention of just normalize, making it, if you have a custom application with ledger entries, then Control F7 should always open the ledger entry table. Just trying to see what I've forgotten about the ledger tables. They have this information, and only the register table, which we look at next, I think so. The registry tables are the ones which will be related to the ledger entry table, because it's very rare to have you have the table relation in terms of maybe the customer ledger entry, to have the entry number as the table relation in your own table. So yeah, that's it for the register tables. They are very key, very important, because they contain the history. They will contain information about who created the user ID, as a very important, the audit trail about your finance. So a very important record worth mentioning here. And if a transaction is posted via the sub ledger, the sub ledger, for example, the vendor ledger or the customer ledger entry, then from the GL entry or the chart of accounts, this should be blocked. It should be blocked from direct posting. And when it is blocked from direct posting, it ensures that there is consistency in the transactions. Because if you have maybe the ledger entries for these sub ledgers, the sub ledgers will also constitute the main ledger. Like there will be a sub ledger and the main ledger, and they are the same. They contain similar information, but you see, the sub ledger is giving you detailed information about a customer. The main ledger is the summary of a particular account. So if the posting is coming from the sub ledger, then the direct posting should be no, so that the main ledger is not involved. I'm just trying to get the field direct posting. Where are you, man? Direct posting, no. So these are the most of the fields or tables or GL accounts that should only be posted via the subledger. No wonder you're seeing this. So I think I'll see you in that should be day 12 or 13. Day 13 of 30 days of L programming.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss the next one.